All right, let's talk about something that gets people really fired up. It's a debate you see everywhere, online, in studios, you name it. Is Autotune a simple tool, or is it actually AI? Let's dive right in.
I mean, you've seen this argument, right? One person is swearing it's just a basic studio tool, while someone else is convinced it's this super advanced AI that's taking over music. And honestly, they both sound like they know what they're talking about, which can be pretty confusing.
Well, here's the kicker. In a weird way, they could both be right. See, the problem isn't really about the technology itself. It's about the fact that we're all using the same exact word to talk about four totally different things.
So if we're ever going to get a straight answer, first we have to untangle what people actually mean when they say autotune. This is the key that unlocks the whole debate.
And here's the breakdown of that chaos. One person might be talking about the specific brand, Antares Autotune. Somebody else could just mean the general technique of pitch correction. A third person is probably thinking of that super robotic T-Pain kind of effect. And then you've got people who use it to mean the entire modern way of producing vocals. See? 4 meanings, 1 word. No wonder everyone's arguing.
Okay, so to get to the truth, let's strip all that away and look at the classic version. What's the core technology that's actually making this whole thing work? What's under the hood?
The engine is something called digital signal processing, or DSP. Now, this part is super important. DSP is basically a set of really clever mathematical rules that process audio. It is not learning from millions of singers, the way we think of modern AI. It's just following a strict set of instructions it was given from day one.
And the process itself is surprisingly simple, really. First, the software listens to the audio and detects the pitch of a note. Then, it maps that note to a target, like the closest correct note in a musical scale. And finally, it just shifts the audio to hit that target. It's a very clear, step-by-step algorithmic process.
I absolutely love this analogy. Think of classic autotune as a thermostat for your voice. It's not a brain, it's not a singer, it's just this bossy little thing that keeps pulling the note towards whatever temperature or key you set it to. It follows rules, it doesn't think for itself.
But, and this is a big but, this is where all the confusion is actually pretty justified. Because even though that core process is just DSP, the world of music software has changed a lot, and AI has definitely made its way into the studio.
This chart shows the divide perfectly. Over on the left, you've got those classic DSP jobs we just talked about, detecting and shifting pitch. But look at the column on the right. These are the modern tools that often get bundled in the same software, things like smart noise reduction or EQs with an assistant that actually learn and adapt. Those are very often powered by real machine learning. And that's how you get those endless arguments. One person is looking at the DSP column saying it's not AI, and the other is pointing to the AI tools on the right, and they're just talking completely past each other. The analogy from our source is perfect. It's like 2 cats fighting over the same spot of sun.
So this brings us to the real fear that's kind of hiding behind this whole debate. When people ask, is it AI, a lot of the time what they're really asking is this thing making human singers obsolete?
Let's just tackle this myth head-on, right now. The idea that you can just buy a microphone, flip a switch on Autotune, and instantly become a pop star, well, that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions in all of music.
Here's the thing. Pitch correction can fix a note that's a little sharp or flat, sure, but it can't fix a genuinely bad performance. It can't magically add emotion or fix terrible timing. It can't give a singer breath control they don't have. If the original performance is just lifeless, all you're going to get is a perfectly in-tune, lifeless performance.
And this, right here, is probably the most important distinction of all. Pitch correction works on a real recording made by a real human being. It just nudges it a bit. Voice cloning and synthesis, that generates a completely fake voice from scratch, a performance that never actually happened. They are fundamentally different things.
And of course, it's not like there's just one tool for the job. Different software is built for different things. Antares is the king of that iconic, hard-tuned pop sound. Melodyne is what you use when you want to do surgical, supernatural-sounding edits. And then you have stuff like flex pitch in Logic, which is just super convenient because it's already built right in.
Now, this might surprise you. That really obvious robotic sound we all think of, that's only about 20% of how it's actually used. A full half of the time, it's being used for fixes that are so subtle, so invisible, you would never ever know it was there. It's more about polishing a great take than creating a crazy effect.
Okay, so after going through all of that, let's bring it all home. Let's give you a new, really clear way to think about this from now on.
This is it. This is the takeaway. Pitch correction is like autofocus on your camera. It helps a real photo, a real performance, be as sharp and clear as it can be. AI voice generation, on the other hand, is like creating a totally fake photorealistic image of a person who doesn't even exist. They're both tools, for sure, but they are not the same thing.
So let's just answer the question plain and simple. Is classic Autotune AI? No, it's DSP. Are the modern software packages that include it using AI? Kind of, yeah, because they bundle in other tools that do use machine learning. And is it replacing singers? Not really. That's voice synthesis, which is a whole other can of worms.
And so that really leaves us with a final question to chew on. Now that we know the technical difference, the debate really stops being about technology and starts being about art. Where do we draw the line between a helpful tool and a deceptive trick? And that's not a question for engineers. That's a question for all of us.